On this episode, I talk with writer, producer Sonia Campbell. We go over our favorite and least favorite Stephen King film adaptations. When you get done with this episode, make sure you check out my fellow horsemen of the podcast Apocalypse, Into the Necrosphere podcast, Everything Went Black podcast, and the Necromaniacs podcast. You'll definitely dig those, trust me, they're fucking killer. So, thank you for listening and hope you enjoy. All right, thanks for being on the podcast, Sonia.
No problem. It's pronounced Sonia, by the way. Just want everyone to know that.
I got it right, didn't I?
I don't know.
I said
there's
Sonia.
there's a little bit of O, long O in there, but it's Sonia.
Sonia.
You got it. Rhymes with lasagna.
Cool, I'll make sure you get that right. So sorry about that if I didn't get it right at first, but I am trying.
Pretty close.
That's good.
I live in Arizona. Everybody pronounces it Sonia, and I don't like that at all. But anyway.
Awesome. Well, Sonia, can you tell me a little about your production company, Crown Chimp?
Sure, yeah. So we're based here in Tucson, Arizona. We're a small independent film and commercial production company. I've been with the company I think about 6 years. I want to say they've been going around 10 to 12 years. The owner and our director is Nicholas Duarte, and it's pretty much just like our core members are myself, obviously Nick and Frank Armendariz, and we work with a lot of great, talented crew based here and other places. And yeah, we have a pretty cool, fun slate right now with a lot of kind of transcendental type stuff, horror and sci-fi, and even a little bit of crime drama. And yeah, I've been working with them a while. I used to do effects makeup for them, and then gradually got more into wanting to write. So that's kind of where my focus has been. Killer.
And I reviewed one of the short films. Was it Old Man, I believe was the name of it?
Yeah, Old Man Forever. Mm-hmm.
Yes. That was killer. I really enjoyed that. I'm still looking for maybe a full length one day.
Tell me about it. Yeah, it's based on a feature that I wrote called Denture Fangs, and boy, in my head I have the whole cast and everything, but it's tough. Independent film is really difficult. Just trying to make some leeway, and hopefully one day you'll see a feature of that.
Killer, yeah. Is that streaming anywhere for people to check out, or?
Old Man Forever, yeah, I believe it's up on Vimeo.
Okay, killer. Yeah, I highly recommend that one. It was really cool, and it's somewhere buried deep on my website because it's hard to navigate my review website. Pain in the ass. It's Weebly. Thanks, Weebly. Yeah, but it's somewhere on there. Like if you find it buried under there, I got a pretty cool review about it because really awesome. You should check it out. So,
thanks.
Yes. So this podcast is going to be talking Stephen King. So we both compiled a list of favorites and not so favorites, and I have like 5 of each, and I think Sonia has maybe a few, like 5 and maybe 4, some she don't like, but it's a good list, I think, and we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
All right. You want to start from the good or the bad?
Maybe we should sort of switch back and forth just so we're not like heavy on the good and heavy on the bad. What do you think?
I'm down with that. Yeah, let's go we'll start from say number 5 for me, work our way up to number 1.
Okay, you ranked them?
Yeah, we'll go good first, and we'll do one bad, one good,
okay.
One bad. So do something like that if you're down.
I like it. Did you rank them like 1 to 5, or is it no order?
I did, but it's not really solid. You know what I mean? They can be swapped around at will. But I think my number 1 for my favorite though is kind of my number 1. So.
Okay, cool.
But everybody else is kind of swappable.
Same here.
All right. Well, I will start this off, I reckon, here. It was going to be The Shining was going to be my number 5, but it's kind of a given with The Shining because it's one of the best Stephen King adaptations, even though it's not quite like the book, but it's still really killer. So I decided to kind of have that out there, kind of floating around, like this is a gimme on The Shining. So my true number 5 is going to be The Night Flyer.
The Night Flyer. Wow. I didn't expect that one. And why is that your favorite?
Well,
not a favorite, number 5.
Yeah, well, it's my number 5 favorite just because growing up, this was one of the films that would pop up on like Fox or whatever channel you have equivalent to Fox back in the day, and it scared the shit out of me. Like,
So it just
it's
stuck
well
with you.
done. What's that?
It stuck with you.
It did, yeah, and it made an impression on me as a kid, and even as an adult. Like finding this film again on YouTube because there's hardly any other way to watch it. I believe I don't think there's any Blu-rays. I don't think there's any
Huh.
DVDs floating around. I think it's all like VHS quality. But
Oh wow.
it's always fucking stuck with me, like especially the special effects with the vampire and stuff. That giant gaping mouth, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and it's just really, really creepy, and I think well done, and it's kind of a deep cut for Stephen King.
That is. When do you think is the last time you saw it?
Not that long ago, I think maybe 2 years ago, I was on
Huh.
a YouTube hunting spree on like weird ass movies that you can't find nowhere else. You go down that rabbit hole. So I went down the rabbit hole and that one popped up again. I was like, oh, cool. So I rewatched it and it still holds up really well.
Nice pick. I think I might check it out on YouTube because I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh wow, yeah, you're in for a treat. It's fucking awesome.
The Night Flyer. It's
The
from the
Night Flyer.
80s?
What's that?
Was it from the 80s?
No, it's actually from 1997.
Oh wow, 97. Interesting.
Yeah, it was
Maybe I
a
have seen it.
time. Yeah. And it stars Miguel Ferreira, if you remember him. He's a really good character actor. He passed away like a few years
Mhm.
ago, maybe more than a few years ago, but he's like the main like detective on the case of the Night Flyer, trying to track him down for a newspaper, kind of like one of those like Star magazines or whatever, where they do all like the weird shit, you know what I mean? So he
Uh-huh.
works for one of those people, and he's trying to track down this Night Flyer who's going around town to town killing people, but they don't know it's a vampire. So
So do you know if it was based on one of the short stories? Sounds like a short story.
I believe it was.
Oh
Can't remember
yeah.
the short story off the top of my head right now. I'm looking it up, but I'm not finding nothing off the top of my head.
Yeah. It says based on an 88 short story. Makes
I
sense.
might have been in the Skeleton Crew short story
Uh,
compilation, maybe.
oh
So,
cool, I love that book.
yeah, I got a shit ton of Stephen King hardcovers. We got from somebody selling them at a flea market. They didn't know they had first editions.
What?
Me and my wife scooped them all up and
Wow.
did not tell that person anything. Like they didn't know they're out there trying to sell all this shit. Like, okay, we'll take this and we'll take the Anne Rice stuff over there too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got a ton of stuff off this one person at a flea market many years ago.
Jeez. I love book hunting. Have you read any of his new work by chance?
Yeah, I think the last thing I read from him was what's the one that came after The Outsider? Do you remember? It's like kind of a detective ghost story type thing.
I'm not sure. I
But
I, I
what's
was
that?
reading one of I think it's called Lisi's story is the last one I was reading.
Oh, I haven't read that, but I saw the mini series on Apple.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I don't
that
know
was
how to
like,
watch Apple TV yet. Still trying
oh,
to figure that out.
yeah, it's a little confusing. Like once you get the app or whatever installed on whatever I use a Roku, and you get the app on there. There's like the free part up there for the Apple TV subscribers, and then there's some other shit you can add on there. But they got
Mhm.
some cool like original stuff if you can find it.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
All right, so we're gonna go with a least favorite of mine. We're gonna go
Okay.
down to the number 5 on that one, and this is gonna be probably a lot of people's least favorite. It was the Dark Tower film from 2017.
Yeah, I completely blocked that out of my memory.
It had some good qualities. I like Eldris Alba as
Sure.
the gunslinger. I thought that was a cool choice, and I even thought Matthew McConaughey was kind of cool as the Man in Black. But
Uh-huh.
besides that, everything else was pretty much horrible.
It's really weird because I mean, it's one of those stories where it could have been amazing and everyone was looking forward to it. And like you said, the casting was really good. There's a lot of really good choices, but then yeah, what happened?
I think they tried to squeeze it all in one film. Like I don't even know
Oh,
what story they were kind of taking away from because
yeah.
I just recently got through with all the books. It took me like 2.5 years to get them all done audiobook wise. So it was
Mhm.
pretty fresh on my mind and stuff. And I was like, they took a lot of liberties here and there and just tried to squeeze all kinds of main shit into one movie. And it doesn't work like that. It should have been at least a miniseries, possibly an actual TV show.
Yeah, a miniseries would have been great.
And there was talks about that a few years ago. Amazon was supposed to be doing something with it, and I think it fell through.
Hmm.
But
Well, we'll see
yeah,
what happens.
yeah, you never know. Amazon's always working on something. Like they got the new Lord of the Rings coming out, so if you can do Lord of the Rings, you can do The Stand. I'm sorry, not The Stand, but they were doing The Stand. But I'm talking about they can do the Dark Tower series. So
Yeah, I kind of don't want to see The Stand anymore.
yeah, I'm good on the
Ever
TV show.
again.
I didn't, and I did not like that. I think that made my list of some of the worst ones too. The actual new Stan TV show. It started
Yep.
off all right, but I was like, God, it's like watching Walking Dead almost. You know, it had that same feel to it, which I really don't care for too much.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of played out.
yeah, I'm good on that. Let's do some Dark Tower stuff. You know.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's throw it back at you. I reckon there for your, I guess, favorite number five.
Favorite number 5. All right, let me kind of. I guess we'll put this at number 5. I'm gonna go with Misery. Like, how does Misery end up number 5? Well, it just does, and I'll tell you why. But I mean, it's such a like classic film overall. You know, Kathy
Mhm.
Bates won Best Actress that year. Everybody kind of likes Misery. Like, I could probably, my mom would watch it with me. You know,
Right.
but the reason it's in the top 5 at all is just the theater experience is so memorable, and that goes a long way. You know, the scene where Annie hobbles Paul with a sledgehammer, and just the sheer horror of the audience's reaction. You know, I remember I saw it with my brother, and we were just like squirming in our seats, so uncomfortable. Because you can relate somehow to
Yeah.
that pain. You know, you're just like, don't do it, don't do it. Oh my God, she's gonna do it, and it's horrific. You know, and I watch it every now and then, you know, when you put something on in the background and then you get sucked into it and just start watching it.
Hmm.
I was watching it maybe in the past year, and just like really enjoying the performances. But it was weird because this time around I was like, James Caan is kind of sucks in that movie. Like, I don't know if it's because he's like opposite of Kathy Bates. That might be it, but
Yeah.
I don't know, some of the lines he delivered, I was like, ooh, I
A
don't
bit
think
over the
so.
top. It was a bit over.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird because I never realized it until I watched it again recently, and I was just like, wow, okay.
The
But
sledgehammer
yeah,
scene still hurts, by the way, too. Even watching it now, like I can still feel that
yeah,
shit. It's so horrible.
totally. Yeah, so that's my number 5, and then I'll mention one of the ones I really don't like, an adaptation. Well, we were just talking about it, so let's continue with the CBS Access, CBS All Access. I guess it was 2020, 2021
Hmm.
miniseries for The Stand. I am still trying to recover from that one. Like, I agree with you. I think we even discussed it a little bit through an IM where we were just like, oh, this seems pretty good when it started out. You know, I was like, all
Hmm.
right, okay, I'm getting my bearings. And then I don't know, it just kept getting worse and worse. And by the time they went to Vegas, it was like, why am I still torturing myself watching this? It was just like painful to watch, you know, because it was like it wasn't so much that, you know, like I think it was fine in terms of it staying along the path of the story, I guess, but they just focused on some weird stuff, you know. And some of the lines in there were like, "Oh, why did they make him say that?" And the characters were just too like stereotypical and over the top. So
Yeah,
just
I didn't like
really,
any of
really
them.
bad. Yeah. Um, and again, like if I really hate something, I start to totally wipe it out of my memory. So it's like hard to get more specific other than I hated it a lot. But you know, I feel like I maybe had high expectations too.
I
Um,
did. Oh, it was hyped up pretty big, like especially around the horror community and stuff. You know, like oh, the Stand's coming. This is going to be in it. This is directing it. You know, this is going to be like this. And when it came out, I was like, oh man.
yeah. Like, how did it get so wrong? And I always kind of think, even though I probably shouldn't think this way, that when something is done in the past, in the 80s or 90s or whatever year, that it can only get better now, you know, with technology. But that's not the case. That's just not the case. So
No,
I would
not at
rather
all.
watch the one from, what was it, the 90s or late 80s than this one again.
Yeah, most definitely. Only standout part of this new TV series, I thought Skarsgård was a decent Man in Black. That's probably about it. I mean, I don't like how he's
Mm.
portrayed in the series, but him as
Yeah.
the Man in Black, I think that will work out really well if it was used better, you know?
Oh yeah, I that makes sense. Yeah. He's such a good actor. It was weird, when you see good actors being bad actors, it's like who's to blame? Somebody
Yeah.
was to blame and it's not him.
He's gonna make all that up in the new film coming out. The new was it the new Viking
Northman?
film?
The
Yeah,
Northman?
Norseman. Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for the Northman. Yeah. It looks incredible and like, Robert Eggers, like everything he's done is just like pure art and now I feel like he's just like can do anything. Like he's the only director, the only filmmaker out there who I can imagine doing Nosferatu, and it looks like he will be doing it and I can't wait. Like I feel like he'll do it justice.
Is
And
that gonna have William Defoe in it? I saw some rumors about that, him playing
I
Nosferatu.
don't know. I think that's cool. I like that idea, but
Yeah,
I've only seen like that as a rumor, but I think that would be a great casting.
that'd be so
No,
badass. You wouldn't
no
need to put
makeup
much makeup.
required.
What's that?
Right. Just shave his head. Let him go.
Yeah, that's all you need. Shave his head and let him go because he's already got the bone structures there, you know, and he's got that crazy
Right.
ass like smile and stuff. Like it'd be perfect.
Yeah, he actually kind of does. I bet he'd do something similar to like how Klaus Kinski did his performance in Herzog's Nosferatu.
Oh
Kind
yeah,
of
with that.
similar features.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I read the script too that Eggers wrote, and it was really really well written, very captivating from the start. So I hope that that's all going to be done in the next few years.
That would be killer. Yeah, I hope so
Yeah.
too. All right, so we're gonna go with my number 4 favorite adaptation, and that's gonna be another weird one for some people who probably haven't seen it, but it was the TV miniseries Storm of the Century.
Oh wow, another deep cut.
Yeah, like I said, he's got so much stuff out there that's been done. Like I
Yeah.
didn't want to really go over stuff that everybody knows. You know, maybe a little bit, deeper on the cut. So, and Storm of the Century is another one that whole time period where they're bringing all these killer like King miniseries and stuff, and I was still in like maybe middle school, I think, and
Yeah.
staying up late watching these. And Storm of the Century scared the shit out of me as well as a kid. Fucking
That
when
was a
Bush comes
late
to town.
late 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1999 is when this came out.
Oh right, yeah. So it's Tim Daly. I love Tim Daly.
Yeah, Tim Daly's awesome. And then you had Linoge, who was played by stupid IMDb. It doesn't even show Linoge as a character on here. He's got a kind of strange name. I'll make sure I try to at
It's
least get it.
Colm Fiore.
Yeah, that's it. Colin Fiore, yeah. They don't even have his name on here. Fucking Internet Movie Database. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. I'm like, yeah, it's today they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody
he
can
played
put
that
whatever
part
they
so
want on there
well.
too.
What's that?
Anybody can put what they want on there too. Like I've
Yeah.
seen some people just being like, including myself, like uh uncredited extra. Like who the hell is this and why isn't like the third most popular actor in here on IMDb?
Yeah, that's
But
what they
yeah.
have going on right here for their top people. It's just like some extras, pretty much. And like, you don't even see Tim Daly on there. Trying to
Oh
be all
wow.
professional with my tablet here with my information right next to me, and the shit ain't even right. So, yeah, that's what happens when you try, I reckon. So, but
You
yeah,
gotta
Century.
you gotta wiki that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and then
wiki,
sometimes Wiki's weird too.
it's true. That's another one where anybody can kind of contribute, right?
Yeah.
It looks like Stephen King wrote that screenplay for TV.
Mm-hmm. And it's well done. Special effects are a little weird because they got some kind of dated CGI, especially with the cane. But
Yeah.
everything else wise, it's dark, man. Like you can imagine that happening in a storm, like this crazy snowstorm going on, and you got this stranger coming to town. It's like that part's
Mhm.
kind of plausible. Then it turns to like an evil wizard towards the end, which is pretty badass.
Yeah, you can't top an evil wizard.
I definitely can see a connection there in the Dark Towers too. I bet he is that character is somewhere in the world, of the
Mhm.
Dark Towers. I bet he's from that, I guess you call it dimension. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
but yeah, super
So,
evil.
like a number 4 favorite. What's a number 4 worst or least favorite?
Let's see what we got here. I got another list pulled up here next to me. All right, my number four least favorite was the 2013 version of Carrie.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good, not so great.
Yeah, that one was rough. I'm like, you know, with the budget they had and stuff, and you know, had a
Yeah,
decent cast, you think it'd be a little bit better, but it wasn't.
I'm not sure why they even bothered doing it again. You know,
That's the
it's a whole
problem.
feel. Yeah,
Yeah. Why would you remake something that don't need to be remade? Like the original was great and it was fine, you know, and then you want to remake it and make it way worse than what it should be. It wasn't good, and even the CGI in there was real questionable, which I don't
yeah.
like CGI anyways. But yeah, it just wasn't. It was boring. You know, didn't like it.
I would never try to remake anything De Palma's done. That's just silly.
Yeah.
But I guess, I wouldn't have minded seeing a mini series of Carrie though. That would be kind of interesting. Maybe that's just like Euphoria.
Mm. I've
Yeah.
given that one episode so far, Euphoria.
Oh, it's horrific in a lot of ways. Euphoria is great.
A lot of recommendations for it from a lot of people I know. I'm like, all right, I watched one episode. I don't know where I stand yet. I'm like, it seems dark as fuck. You know, they got some really dark scenes in this film, really cool. So I
For
might keep
sure.
on with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's a whole mood. I binge them all at once and then feel really bad for a while. But yeah. I think if Carrie was done as a miniseries in the style of Euphoria, that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Like I said, just from the first episode, just the way it's filmed and all, Carrie would look a lot better filmed like that. That's how it should be, like super dark but
Uh-huh.
stylized and stuff, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that. Like, it's got good cinematography and like it looks really nice. It just adds a lot to me liking it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Style goes a really long way. Even if something's kind of bad, if it's got some style, it's like, I'm down. I'll remember that film forever because of that.
That was another bad aspect of the new Stand series was the way it was filmed. Like I said, it was filmed like The Walking Dead. It looked like The Walking Dead to me. You know, like another
Uh-huh.
post-apocalyptic fucking TV show that you find on some channel. It just didn't have any kind of like gripping nothing to it. There's no style. There's nothing there. You know.
Totally. Yeah. It's surprising sometimes when you see things like on Amazon or wherever that have, I guess in that case it was CBS, but they have money and it's like, where's it being spent? Because some of the sets and things looked like garbage, and
Yeah.
but I mean, it's hard to criticize. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who worked on the film that tried their best, and it
Oh
all
yeah.
came down kind of to story.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think a lot of money probably went into the actors' pockets, you know. So there's that
uh,
pretty big names on there.
yeah, totally.
All right. So I guess we'll go to your number. What we at? Number four favorite?
For top, yeah. Well, mine are, compared to you, I'm not trying to go for any deep cuts.
Oh,
I'm
that's cool.
kinda
I mean, whatever hits you.
on the opposite side of the spectrum and just things everyone has heard of, but I can't help it. I do have a list of like, ones I would mention that are off the top five that are great, but number four has got to be Pet Cemetery. And
Oh,
again, that's one of those I saw in the theater when I was a kid, and it left a lasting impression. I did read the book also when I was a kid, and it scared the shit out of me. And I remember reading that it was like I read this somewhere, so I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but it was like the only book that actually scared Stephen King while he was writing it. I
that's
think
what I've
that says
heard.
a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's just so dark in so many different levels. Like who wouldn't want to bring back a dead relative? You'd try it even if they might come back a total like creep.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a few things in that film that I thought really were standout, and that make it a classic, horror film. And one of them is the Sister Zelda. That just was, oh wow, just very
Right.
disturbing scenes with her.
Right.
And also, I loved the character Pascal. He was creepy. One of those typical kind of Stephen King characters, just some weirdo being too friendly with a kid, but trying to like forewarn everybody.
Hmm.
And the scene where Gage gets hit by the semi, like I'll never forget the way I felt in the theater seeing that little shoe flying and the dad just like screaming in agony. It was awful,
It's burnt into
and
the mind.
it was like really impactful, no pun intended. It was like stood with me. Interestingly, like it actually has a female director. You know, I kind of forget there's also female directors in horror out there. It was Mary Lambert that directed it, and I think Stephen King wrote the screenplay too. So I don't know. Maybe when he writes the screenplay, they're better. But it's just, it's not like flawless, but it's always going to be one of my favorites. Maybe any kind of horror film.
Yeah, that's like a yearly watch for me. I think around Halloween, October time, I usually watch Pet Sematary and Pet Sematary 2 because I like both of them almost equally. Yeah, it might be heresy to like the second one almost as much as the first one, but I do.
I didn't see the new one, the remake. Did you?
Yeah, you can just skip that.
I'll skip it.
Yeah, just skip it. I wanted to like it. I really did. I even won like a signed shirt from the director of that film, but it never got to me. So I guess that was probably okay thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm not complaining. I'm like, it's fine, it's all right, but
You're like, I really wanted to set that shirt on fire. No fair.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But I can recommend the audiobook of Pet Sematary read by Michael C. Hall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I love
it's
Michael
fucking
C.
awesome.
Hall.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I'd like to hear him read lots of different things. That kind of reminds me, remakes. I get down a lot on remakes, but not because I want to. I want to see a good remake. I'm all for a good remake, but 9 times out of 10, it's just so poorly done that I don't see the point of why it was ever made in the first place. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know if they're trying to go for a new, younger audience or what, but it's like, if you're going to do it again, then maybe make it good and not just, regurgitate the same scenes from the original, which is strange, but I can think of some decent remakes, they're few and far between, like I thought the 2013 Evil Dead remake was really good.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed being in the theater and hearing people start screaming when they started cutting the arm off with like the turkey cutter or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, and Fede Alvarez, what he did, what is that other one? Don't Breathe, and I really enjoyed that film too.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like really like a tight movie, like they filled every plot hole they could possibly think of, and so I was super looking forward to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix film, but hey, that just didn't go my way. I will say it was not as bad as I, kind of reacted to it, but I don't want to be bored in the first 5 minutes. Is that too much to ask? I don't know.
I kind of enjoyed it. I give it like a 7 out of 10, which ain't super high. It's just whatever. But in terms of just having fun watching the kills, and I thought the Leatherface was actually cool. His character was cool. Everybody else, I didn't like anybody in that film. So
no, it's like go ahead and kill them all.
Yeah,
but I mean, if it wasn't under the umbrella of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if it was just called something else,
yeah,
Austin
definitely.
assholes go to a small town or something, I'd like it, but it was just like, it's just too much to live up to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so.
But it was a lot better than the last Texas Chainsaw movie. Well, the last couple ones, New Generation is still better. New Generation.
Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt.
I just rewatched that too, and I was like, oh, let's go. I'm watching all the Chainsaw movies. I did it over a couple months, and I got a New Generation. I'm like, oh, maybe it's aged okay, There's no fucking kills in the damn movie, man. I think there may be one kill during the whole movie. There's hardly no gore at all. It's just very tame. Only a highlight of that whole thing is Matthew McConaughey's character with the fucking robotic leg.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you just want to take him and his character and make something else.
Yeah, and they totally disowned that movie. Him and Renee Zellweger like disowned it forever. And now they're finally like, oh yeah, we were in that one. It's cool. It's just one of our first films. I totally get why you disowned it. It fucking sucked. And even Leatherface in that movie was fucking horrible.
You can disown it all they want. We'll never forget.
Oh, we won't. And also the other, I think it was a Netflix movie too, Leatherface, like the coming of age Leatherface story that turns out not to be who you think it is. You remember that one?
No, I didn't. I just vaguely. I don't think I watched. No, I didn't watch it.
Oh, you're lucky then. That's good.
Weird.
No, it was horrible. You think this one is like, from the baddest it can be? No, no. Go check out Leatherface. It makes no fucking sense. Doesn't even feel like a Texas Chainsaw movie whatsoever. I don't know what it is. It says it's a chainsaw movie.
Hmm.
I don't know, but it was horrible.
I think, around 2003 is when I started getting angry at bad remakes with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that came out then. Like, there's way too many. That's the one with Jessica Biel.
Right.
And at the time, I used to have like a review website for horror stuff.
Hmm.
And I would get, just like books or DVDs or even CDs back in the day. You'd actually get physical media. But I like ripped on that one, the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then, not thinking about it, I asked the guy that played Leatherface to do an interview, and he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Oh shit, yeah. It was Andrew Brzezinski or something?
Andrew Brynjarski, yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah.
It didn't go well, that whole exchange.
Oh shit.
I was like, why did he even read my review,
Yeah. I guess
But
he's
I'm sorry.
thorough. I'll give him that. At least he's checking stuff out,
I mean, yeah, I guess if you're going to be asked to do an interview, you might check out the website and see what kind of stuff they write, right? I mean, that's reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I had been given his contact info, and this '03 was still in the AOL days, I remember.
Mhm.
This was, this is back in the Hot or Not days, '03. It's weird to think that it was that long ago, but we're
Oh,
talking,
three's a long time ago. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but it's almost 20 years ago.
Fucking
But
crazy.
yeah, we had like a mutual friend, and then I was like, okay, I'll reach out to him, and yeah, I just really didn't expect his outlash. Like, he got really Leatherface on me.
Oh, was it like an in-person kind of thing or over the
No, it
internet?
was all online, and
Okay.
he was pissed that I just like trashed the film. But I don't like anything that has like a baby as like a reason to feel emotional and drive a story. I was like,
Mm.
really went off on that, and just that it sucked overall. But I could see his point of view. It's like, I just spent all this time and effort working on this film, wanting to be an iconic horror character, and you're over here asking me for an interview and ripping on the film I did. But no regrets. It was funny. I look back at it. And at that time too, I used to talk to online Eli Roth a little bit. It was because I was a big fan of Cabin Fever, and he hadn't
Uh,
really done anything else yet. But he told me that Andrew Banyarski came up to him at a convention once, and wasn't under his control. But Eli Roth, they set up his table with a big banner that said "Master of Horror,"
uh,
and Andrew Banyarski walked up and was like, "Master of Horror, you made one fucking movie, dude." And he said he was wearing like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre hat and shirt, and
uh,
I think that's pretty funny and hasn't aged well.
yeah. He was a
Because that
big
was
dude
probably
too, so
one good way.
I bet that was a bit intimidating for him too, seeing him coming after him like fucking
Yeah,
Leatherface. Oh shit, don't piss him off. You know?
yeah, yeah, and not even Leatherface. It's just like a big
Yeah.
ex pro wrestler. Like, get lost. But yeah. Anyway, sorry to sidetrack there. I thought
Oh, that's cool. I like
that's
sidetracking,
pretty
no
funny.
problem.
But yeah, he told me that Andrew read everything, so I shouldn't have been surprised. And he knew a lot about horror films.
No, wow. All right, so I guess we're on to your least favorite now.
Okay. Let's see. I think that I'm gonna save the worst for last. So I'm gonna go with Stephen King's Thinner, because I saw it not too long ago. I thought, hey, I haven't seen Thinner in a long time, and it was on Hulu. And Tom Holland is the director, and how bad could it be? Because I love Fright Night and Child's Play.
Mm-hmm.
And I put on Thinner, and I was like, is this Norbit? Like, it's just such a
Yeah,
bad movie. Like, the makeup, the fat suit looks so dated and
it
silly, and the
does.
performances are over the top, and it didn't, like, that tone of over the top and bad acting didn't fit well with this kind of like just short, simple story. The stuff with the gypsy it was just super corny, and yeah, I think it went bad in so many ways, and it was almost unwatchable. From a serious perspective, I was just like, no, dude, hit and miss with Tom Holland, and this is a big miss.
And wasn't the lead actor, wasn't he the dad from Beethoven or something? Like he's got that
That
face
sounds
like
right.
that. Yeah,
It
it looks like
wasn't.
that from Beethoven or something. Like I know that face. I haven't looked him up or anything, but I'm like, man, he looks familiar.
It's so funny. Yeah, Robert John Burke. I don't know. I haven't seen Beethoven in a while, but he was a terrible actor in that movie. And I
Yeah,
just say in that movie because like that's the one performance where I know for sure he was bad. I can't think of another film he's in right now.
it's like I thought it was supposed to be a comedy, but it wasn't really supposed to
Right.
be a comedy. It's like it sure felt like some sort of like
Right.
dark comedy or something, but
Exactly. It had a tone of a comedy, but with like no comedy whatsoever.
right. Yeah, it did
And I
not
don't
age well.
no, you can't make a movie like Thinner today. You get canceled.
Yeah, most definitely. I
Body
remember back
shame.
when I was a kid watching it for the first time, I thought it was kind of cool, but I didn't really know any better,
Sure, yeah. I think I would have liked it as a kid and been like, this is great, but no, it didn't hold up.
No, I totally agree on that one. All right, so we're going to my number three favorite Stephen King adaptation. And like I said, a lot of the big ones I already know are like fucking top five, so I skipped those and went more a little deeper dive on these. So, but this
Mhm.
one here is kind of big. I mean, everybody knows this film, but it's a 1985 Silver Bullet.
Oh yeah, that's in my honorable mention list.
Oh man, I fucking love. As you know, I love werewolves. I fucking named the podcast after werewolf stuff, and I just love werewolves since I was a kid. And this is one of the main reasons I love werewolves with Silver Bullet. Just watching
Yeah.
this growing up, like it's so good. I mean, what better than what gets any better than a fucking kind of demonic preacher fucking werewolf? I mean, that's a great combination.
Totally.
It's like
It
so
is.
people.
Yeah, I agree. And I love Corey Haim, man, and
Oh,
Gary
same.
Busey was great too.
Yeah, the cast was fucking great. This was Gary Busey at his optimal maximum Gary
Yeah,
Busey-ness, and it was really good. And he played the role as, drunk and crazy uncle because we all have those, and he played it to a fucking T.
and that's basically him.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, you don't even really need to act, Gary. Just come on set, bring some liquor with you, and just let it flow.
Yeah, I feel like he was probably sober in that film because he's good.
Might not have knew he was filming. Was this a documentary or something?
Yeah. Yeah, another werewolf story happening around in my life. Yeah, it's typical.
So,
But
man,
yeah,
that's
I miss Corey Haim, man. I really miss that guy. He's such a like, the classic 80s teen heartthrob, and of course, Lost Boys is one of my favorite films.
same here.
So yeah, it's one of those like it just sticks with you forever. 80s horror film, Silver Bullet. I'll rewatch that anytime it's on. I
Oh,
don't like
hell
go
yeah.
out of my way to watch it, but if it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
And I always loved that like killer like kind of motorcycle like wheelchair that he had that
Yeah.
Busey made for him and stuff. I was like, that's so fucking bad. I always wanted one of those, but not the wheelchair thing, but like a motorcycle when I was a kid. I wanted one of those, but it never
Like I
happened.
wish I was crippled so I could have that badass wheelchair.
Fucking like I said with the preacher Everett McGill is his name. Twin Peaks fame, like it's
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah, he's creepy in anything he plays in, and him playing a werewolf is just like the ultimate.
So good. Yeah. I think Silver Bullet is definitely one of my favorite werewolf movies. That and Bad Moon.
Oh, I love Bad Moon. That's kind of a deep cut too, because I've mentioned it to people and they've never seen it before. I'm like, oh shit, you never seen Bad Moon? I was
That's
like, all right, it's
weird.
streaming on this place right now. Go check it out. I think it's on Shudder right now, actually.
Oh
And
yeah? Cool.
yeah, Bad Moon is so fucking good. It's one of the best werewolf designs ever.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That and Dog Soldiers, I love the werewolves in those films. They did such a badass job. Like it's like to me just like practical effects and costumes at their best,
Yep.
Yeah, it's like simple but really effective,
And
you
it's
know?
something you could really believe that would be that way. Say werewolves were real, that's what they would look
Yeah.
like, I think. The perfect combination of kind of humanoid fucking werewolf. I mean, wolf. And,
Yeah,
and that's like the perfect combination.
for sure. Yeah, it's like The Howling, Dog Soldiers, Bad Moon, Ginger Snaps, and American Werewolf, obviously. Everyone knows. You know what's weird is I kind of like American Werewolf in Paris as well.
I do too, man.
You
A lot
do?
of people hate on that movie, but I love that movie for the fact it's a cool fucking movie. You got fucking badass like kind of metal werewolves in Paris over there and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
the special effects are kind of what fucked it up. All the CGI now, like it looks really bad now. It didn't look great back then, but if it wasn't for the CGI, like it'd be a
Yeah.
really awesome movie overall. But it's still got a cool story.
It was
like.
funny too. Like I laughed out loud some of
Yeah,
that
I know it's
stuff.
supposed to be like, it was
Yeah.
that had that dark comedy element, which was, that's what it
Mhm.
was. But it gets a
Mhm.
lot of hate. People fucking hate that movie. I'm like, I love it. I still got it on VHS somewhere.
I'm
You
glad
know?
we agree on this. There should be a resurgence. Just like people have never heard of American Werewolf in London, just tell them only about in Paris.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that sounds even better, man. I'm gonna check that out. And
Have you watched American Werewolf in London in the past few years or
oh
so?
yeah, I watch that one about once every year. Yeah.
I'm always a little bit surprised that it's popular because the story is kind of like it's not like linear, it's kind of dry, you know?
Yeah,
It's like here's a
it's
guy and here's some stuff that happened and here's some really like top-notch practical effects, yeah. And then here's how it ends. It doesn't really feel like a super impactful like story, you know? It starts out as that, but then I always feel like it's kind of dry.
yeah, that middle part's is definitely dry. Like the first half is
Yeah.
cool, when the whole attack happens and everything, and then the last like what, maybe 45 minutes where shit really goes crazy.
Yeah.
When he starts transforming, and from then on, it's all like fucking nuts, and.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've noticed that since we've gotten older. It's my favorite of all time, but I do notice the dry parts in it. Like I
Right.
didn't realize that when I was little. I'm like, oh okay.
Same
I
here.
thought the whole thing was like fucking bloodthirsty werewolf on a rampage, but it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, there's like a large section where you're just like ho hum. But
And
don't tell anyone I said that. I don't want to get lynched.
it'd be fine. It's just a few people will be after you, but it's all right. Going back to Silver Bullet too, with their werewolf design, that one has a lot of like scrutiny around it because some people are like, oh, it looks like a big giant bear, and it kind of does from certain angles. Like, but I've come to appreciate the design a bit more, especially since it's practical. You
Mhm.
know, I see
Yeah.
where they're going with it. There's some issues through the whole film with the werewolf design and the
Mm.
crate and all that stuff. Like it had to something happened and I had to compromise it to look like this, but it didn't want to look
Uh,
like that. So and this came out, but I still think it looks all
yeah.
right. It's not the best, but
I can see the bear kind of thing. I feel like maybe they were trying a little bit for like the classic sort of Lon Chaney looking werewolf and it mixed kind of weird, but I don't really have a problem with it. It's fine, you
yeah,
know?
that's what I think too. Like I said, and being that it had like really good CGI, if any CGI in 1985, but being that
Yeah,
it's practical too, so it helps it with the aging process.
sure. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to my number three least favorite Stephen King adaptation, and that's
Mhm.
going to be Trucks. The
Trucks.
Yeah, I didn't like Trucks.
I don't even know what that is. Is it
See,
like
that's a
Maximum
good thing.
Overdrive?
That's probably a really good thing. But I'll tell you the date on that real quick. I'm looking it up because this was like a copy of Maximum Overdrive because they have Maximum Overdrive and
Yeah.
Trucks, and I think these are based off the same story.
Okay. It's kind of
Trucks.
weird how he has like killer car things, Christine. No, yeah, Christine, and then now Trucks, and then Maximum Overdrive. But
Yeah, I like
so,
Maximum
so
Overdrive.
what? It was a film?
Yeah, it was a TV movie. It came out in
TV movie.
1997.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and the cast, I mean, it had Aidan Devine, Timothy Busfield. I mean, no, the cast was pretty. Yeah, not much going on there. It was bad. It's got a 3.8 on Internet Movie Database. And I might
Yeah.
agree with that. It was really bad. What they did was just copy Maximum Overdrive, make it a TV movie, and
Oh, I see.
it's horrible.
So it
Same.
is. I see. Yeah, it's the basis of an '86 cult classic film. Okay, so that's that's the same story, and then one is the TV series or the TV movie, and the other is film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that Maximum Overdrive is great, but I still love it for like just kind of you know icon reasons. It's fun to see like
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez in like those '80s films.
I miss Emilio Estevez. He hasn't played
Totally.
nothing since forever, right? The last thing I've seen him in.
I don't remember the last time seeing him in anything except kind of like sort of a serious documentary. But it would be great to see his career do like a resurgence,
Yeah, maybe you can pull the
Somebody
Nicolas
get
Cage
him
and
on the phone.
some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like looking at his IMDb, but not really seeing a lot. He was so funny. I loved him in like Young Guns and
Yeah, Young Guns was great.
anything 80s with Emilio Estevez was the shit.
Yeah, I miss all those
Repo
great
Man.
actors from back then. Like all of that whole group of like '80s actors. You had him, Lou Diamond, Phillip, like all those
Yeah.
guys. It's like you don't have.
And Repo Man is a great movie and a great
Oh
character.
yeah, I love Repo Man.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, trucks you want to avoid since you haven't seen it. That's
Okay.
the best possible thing you can do unless you're really
You
looking
know
for
who
some.
else should avoid trucks?
What's that?
Gage.
No, there you go.
Hey.
That's a good tie-in.
It's all right.
Yeah, he didn't avoid him though, so unfortunately.
Well, he wanted his kite.
I mean, he was kind of cooler as an undead kid, anyways. I think, but
It was what?
he was cooler when coming back from the undead as like an undead killer kid.
Oh yeah, I love the little outfit. He looks like kind of like Baby New Year.
Yeah, and a
Top
little bit
hat.
like Chucky. Had a little Chucky
Yeah.
thing going on for sure.
There should be like a list of the best babies in horror. I like the one from Dead Alive a lot. The little
Oh yeah,
striped outfit. Yeah.
yeah, that one's creepy as hell too. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't like kids, but if I had that kid, I'd feel okay.
yeah. That's why we have cats, like no kids.
Exactly.
I'm good. Like people want me to hold their kids all the time. Like, I'm not. I don't want to hold your kid. I don't even want to touch your kid. I'm not responsible
Yeah.
if this kid falls out my lap or something. I'm not that kind
It's
of person.
weird.
I don't want to hold kids.
The last time I held a baby, I was when my nephew was born, and he's like 11 now. And I remember feeling like someone made me hold a giant burrito, and I had nothing. I didn't want to. I was like, it doesn't feel like anything. So, anyways.
Yeah, it makes me
I have no
uncomfortable as hell.
emotions.
It's horrible.
I have no motherly instincts.
I have no fatherly stuff. Unless it's for the cats. I'm a good cat dad, but that's about
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah, I
cats are the babies.
spoil the shit out of them. So right. So let's see. Your top was it number 3 for you now? Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's just both agree that The Shining is up in our top 5s, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's for obvious reasons. Kubrick, and it's iconic, and it's always good.
Yes.
It's atmospheric, foreboding, and it will always feel fresh to me. So let's just take that as a given, and I'll go on to a double feature here. Creep Show 1 and 2.
Oh hell yeah.
And again, for reasons of childhood memories. Creep Show 1 and 2 I saw at like I think it was for Halloween as a kid. They played like 5 horror films at the theater, and my parents let me stay up until Hellraiser, and I wasn't allowed to see that one. But the first couple were Creep Show 1 and 2 back to back, and it was like it was definitely the first experience I ever had where I realized that horror films can be fun and funny, not just scary. And it really made me have the appreciation I have for horror that I have today, which was like how these experiences with horror films can be a shared experience that everyone can enjoy on a different level. Not just a lot of people who don't like horror films, they don't want to be like frightened, and they don't want to feel terrible, and they don't want to feel just bad about like awful things that happen in humanity. But Creepshow 1 and 2 made me realize, like, you don't have to take these things so seriously. You can have fun with it and get campy and just have a good time. So, and then of 1 and 2, my favorite stories are definitely from 1, The Crate, with
Oh yeah, I love The Crate.
Badass creature, so good. Hal Holbrook and Adrienne Barbeau. And then the second, and Creepshow 2 is The Raft. That one was so fun.
Yeah.
Such a creepy, like, good, weird story. And it's cool, like, just directed by George Romero, and I was reading that Creepshow, the first one, was his first screenwriting debut, or his screenwriting debut. I worded that weird. And it kind of makes me think he should write screenplays for every Stephen King thing that comes out, because they're just seem like they're just better films for it.
Right.
But yeah, and then they're horror comedies, and I really like the Shudder series as well. I love horror anthologies. They're just super fun, to have these like little bursts of different stories back to back.
Yeah, on the Creepshow TV series, a new one, I think one of my favorites was the Jeffrey Combs, the werewolf one they did. I think might have been season 1. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah, that was
See-
really good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was really cool.
And I like Gray Matter. That was based on a King short.
That was one of the
Um,
that was the first episode too, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't remember what order
Yeah.
those were in. That was a good one. My favorite one of the Shutter Creep show was, I don't remember the name of it, but it's a little girl has that dollhouse with that head in it. Oh, is it just
Oh
called The
yeah,
Head? Maybe
yeah.
The Head.
I think it is the head. Yeah.
That one is so good. Like I would love to see a feature of that movie, of
Yeah,
that
that was a
short
cool one.
story. That one was just great. Oh, it's called The House of the Head.
The House of the Head. Okay.
So good. Yeah, there's a lot of really good ones in there. There's mostly good, and then like a couple where I was like,
Yeah, but overall, like I think it's a success, and it's cool.
for
Like
sure.
having a newer generation of people like seeing, oh, Creep Show. This is their Creep Show now, you know. So, and then once they see this, they probably go back and watch original Creep Show, you know. So it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a win-win. It's one of my favorite things on Shutter they do.
Yeah, I love Shudder. I've been with Shudder since the beginning and stuff. I've said that a bunch of times on this podcast because I like Shudder, and
Hmm.
especially with adding Joe Bob on there, so that just adds that much more value to Shudder, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Are they gonna add Elvira, or did I read something wrong?
I thought they were because they did that special last year, so
Yeah,
there's a chance maybe that'll happen again this year, but I don't know for sure.
that'd be cool.
That would be cool. That's like two of the best horror hosts ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, that would be amazing. I miss, the horror host.
Yeah, it's just
So,
fun. Like, I guess it may be a little bit of nostalgia mixed in there too, but it's just
mhm.
something like it just makes the movie that much better. Even if the movie's not that
Yeah,
great, just having Joe Bob on there, like, he's an encyclopedia of fucking movies, like going over things with you is just, I don't know, something special about that.
yeah, it makes it a much better viewing experience. You get the trivia, you get these little like jokes here and there, and same with Elvira. I always enjoyed watching her show when I was a kid and just would watch some, sort of terrible film, but her interjections made it worthwhile.
Yeah, most definitely. And hopefully she'd be on Shudder again this year. But like I said, I
Yeah,
haven't heard anything yet, but I'm watching.
yeah. I'm sure she makes plenty of money with all of the conventions, though.
Oh yeah, and she's going to be in the new Munsters movie, or is it going to be a movie from Rob? I
Oh.
think it's going to be a movie. She just got
Hmm.
announced a couple days ago. She's going to be in it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is that
Yeah,
the Rob Zombie thing?
yeah, it's a Rob Zombie one.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
we shall see, right?
Yeah.
He's
I'll
already
leave
said
my comments out.
he said he's not gonna. It's not gonna be a blood-filled gore fest like all his other movies. It's gonna stick like the regular Munsters, like PG or PG-13. That way, it's just like it
Uh-huh.
used to be. He says it's not going up because people were asking like, oh, is this gonna be another like you taking this and turning it around and making it super fucking brutal? No. So you can take your kids to this. He said so.
I really am tired of Sherry Moon, though. Like, really? Like, enough. Please.
Yeah, she's
Go
not.
away, lady. Forever.
She was cool in House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Both were cool, but after that, like, she just kind of lost me on things. She's not very good with film. She's not a very good
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it must be hard to say no to her, Like, he's just like, I have to cast her and everything now. I
Did
have
you
no
ever see
idea
her?
why that keeps happening.
Did you ever see her in the remake of the Toolbox Murders?
No.
She was pretty. She was pretty good in that. She didn't last that long though. I think she was one of the first to die in that. But that was a
Uh-huh.
pretty good remake from what I can remember. Now it's been a few years since I've seen it. Shit, more than a few years. But I thought the remake of the Toolbox Murders was
Mm.
pretty good. So you
I
haven't
see.
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm way, way out of the Rob Zombie camp. Like, I can't stand him.
Hmm.
I hate his films. And I gave them a shot, and they're just not for me. Like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know, it doesn't connect with me, the style and the lines, and like I just can't get there,
My favorite from
not for
his
me.
stuff is I like Lords of Salem, House of a Thousand Corpses, and I did like the first Halloween he did, but he's very hit and miss. Like that's the
Mhm.
three I like. Everything else is like not it's not that great.
Yeah.
But I love House of a Thousand Corpses. I remember going to the theater when I was a teenager to see that one, and people were going fucking nuts in there too because all the craziness in that movie. And I was just like, oh, this is hilarious, and people were screaming and running out the movie theater. I'm like, damn.
Ran out almost just because I hated it, but you know.
I remember seeing a movie called Black Mask. It was a Jet Li movie back in the day. I think it was Jet Li. My dad walked down on it. He said, "I'm not watching this with you." I was a little kid at the time. We were watching it together. He said, "This is stupid," because all like dubbed and stuff too. I was like, "Man, I want to watch Black Mask," and he fucking leaves. I'm like, "Well, I guess I gotta leave too."
Oh man, it takes a lot for me to actually like get up and leave. The last time I did was just because the audience was being so loud for some reason. It wasn't the movie, but yeah. If I paid money and I sat there and I'm gonna stick it out, even if I just sit there and talk shit the whole time.
Yeah, I understand that. And I also understand having a bad audience. That's a problem I have going to the movies. Like, there's always assholes that are on their fucking phones or loud as shit, like talking to each other about random shit. I'm like, dude, I paid good money to sit here and watch this fucking movie. Why'd you even come? Like, why are you? You can be at home on your fucking phone.
They ruin it. Yeah. And lately, you know how you can choose the seats that you want? I don't understand why, like, anybody would then purchase the seat right behind a seat that's taken. Behind. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You have the entire theater and you're going to sit right behind. Now I feel weird, you know? Yeah. Now I can't talk or hang out or whatever. And because, you know, there's someone right behind me in this whole entire empty theater. That's another pet peeve. But yeah, at the Batman, it was basically ruined because of this weird person in front of us who would check her text messages and was acting really, really strangely. Like, I don't know. It was very distracting.
Yeah, it seems to be a common thing too nowadays, like going to the movie. I haven't been to movies in a while now just because of that. Because like, every fucking time I go, I swear we got them assholes on their phones. This is like, why? Like, I don't want this shit out. This is a phone-free zone. I'm not going to be on my fucking phone. Get off your fucking phone, you know?
You know what? I'm already anticipating how angry I will be if there's a bad audience at the Northman. Like, I'm going to be pissed. And that's not until April. So I'm already, like, thinking which movie theater am I going to see it in? And, like, what time I should go. And, like, all these things so I can see it in the theater and not be distracted or angry.
Best time to go is during a work week in the middle of the day. Everybody's at work.
It would be so. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, don't go on a Friday night, that's for sure, or Saturday.
Because you always think like, hey, what kind of like ghetto asshole would be at this movie? And then sure enough, there's one. You know, they come in at the last minute too. You know, with their like cellophane candy.
Like a bunch of frat boys coming after like having a party or some shit. Let's go see a movie, dude. And they're fucking walking there like the movie's halfway over. Where are we gonna sit, man? Oh, I can't see anything, dude. And then guess what? They come sit by you. I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, this room in here. You want to come sit by me? Like, I hate shit. Yeah. Horrible. All right. So now your least favorite, number 3.
Okay. So this is a 2-for-1, and these are the last of the least favorites, but these are big ones. So it's the Andy Muschietti films of It and It 2. Is it Part 2? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I agree with you.
Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there was anticipation since the 90s miniseries. Thinking 90s miniseries, you can improve on it. Yeah, sure. A film, okay, I'm down, Mm-hmm. And when there were rumors first about it, the director attached to it was Cary Fukunaga. And, he's done awesome stuff. And right. I think of True Detective, so I'm just like, hell yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Apparently, I think his scripts, his version strayed too far from the material, and whatever creative differences, that were blamed, it ends up in the hands of Andy Muschietti, who I only knew him from the film Mama. I don't think he'd done anything else, but not that it matters, but I wasn't like a big fan of Mama either. I was just kind of like, it was fine. It was okay. Yeah. I wouldn't watch it again. And I thought, well, okay, let's just see how it turns out. But saw it in the theater and was like, I thought Bill Skarsgård was a really good Pennywise.
Agreed.
And that's a lot, just having a pretty like a good Pennywise is a lot of positive things for a film, but then the rest of the movie, I was just like, this is corny. This is like, everyone said the same thing, and I'm going to say it too. It just felt like Stranger Things. It was just like,
Definitely.
I'm not really into it. It doesn't feel dark. It doesn't feel the way it felt when I read it when I was 10 years old. It doesn't feel like the way that I felt when I saw it in the 90s. It just feels like group of fucking Goonies, and a clown, and it's just, ugh. But just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, along comes It Chapter 2, and It Chapter 2 is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And we just got done talking about Rob Zombie, so that says a lot. Like it's so bad that I cringe literally watching it, and I feel embarrassed to be a human being watching it.
Damn.
And I see that Muschietti has now directed The Flash, and I wasn't a big fan of The Flash in the film that, what was it, the Justice League? I don't know, but
yeah.
I was like, wow, I really, really, really hate this character in this DC movie, and the thought of him doing an entire film about him, I just, wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also going to be one of the worst movies ever made, but I don't know. I just know what I do know, and that it too was like, it was like torture trying to watch it.
I can't even remember it too, and I've seen it. I don't even remember it. Like I remember the first one, but it's hard for me to recall what the hell happens in the second one. And
That's what happens when something's bad, is your brain just goes, let's wash our hands of this.
Yeah, we only have so much fucking RAM in our head, so I guess just kind of deleting some of the shit we don't need.
Yeah, I don't even understand how that film got made. Like, it astonishes me, a film like that. Let's just not pick on It Chapter 2, but any film that's equally terrible. Like, just the fact that someone wrote it, and then other people read it, and then at some point people said, I have millions of dollars for you to now go and create the film. And at no point did someone go, wait, this is pretty bad. Like, it's amazing to me, the way that system operates. So we get so many garbage movies that are just like greenlit, like, here's
Right.
all the money I have for you. Go ahead and make this terrible script into a film. Like, who? I don't know. I get a little bit bitter when I think about all the bad horror films out there that got money.
Right.
And my bad horror film doesn't get any money. No. But on a Hollywood level of like major theatrical release, it's almost unacceptable,
Another thing was
the fact
also
that no one stopped it.
I heard a lot of people say, "Oh man, those films are just like the book. They were right with the book." And I just got finished rereading it for like the fourth time. I was like, "Yeah, it's nothing like the fucking book. Have y'all read the book?"
No.
Like everybody swears by, "Oh, it's just like the book." I'm like, "No, it ain't. It's not even close.
Nah.
The stories are totally fucking different." There's a few things that are similar, but it's not.
And who cares if it's like the book? Like, I'd rather see a good way off the script Cary Fukunaga It version that was really good and had the tone of the book than see whatever that was,
And it totally didn't have the tone of the book, that's for sure.
No,
it
not
did
at
not feel
all.
dark whatsoever. That book is fucking, even to this day, like I recently reread it like maybe 3 years ago, and it's still fucking like, goddamn story,
Yeah. The first time I read it, I guess I was 10 or so, and my dad took it away. So I never got to the very end, but I heard that was no big deal, because I read all the best parts in the 3/4 of the book. But yeah, I'll never forget, like, him just giving me a talk of shame, how I wasn't supposed to be reading that book.
Pennywise is the ultimate evil, especially for kids, but like he really is like he is like the Freddy Krueger of a bigger like universe, like ultimate, like the deadlights. I mean, that there is just enough to fucking give you chills, like the fucking
seriously.
Yeah.
All those little micro stories that happened in the past in that book are just haunting. It's such a masterpiece.
It is, yeah. Stephen King he's a bad man when it comes to making fucking the universe he's created is insane. Like, still doing it, which is nuts.
And
like
still doing it.
Good shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I recently recently, which is crazy. I had never read it before, but I recently read On Writing and just finished it.
Hmm.
And I'm a really slow reader. Like, it took me forever to finish reading it, but it was kind of one of those things where you get a lot of really great nuggets of knowledge in there and things to try to remember when you're writing, whatever it is you're writing. But ultimately, it's just one of those things where you're like, this guy basically came out of the womb writing,
Yeah.
and there's never going to be another one of him, and why even try?
No.
It was kind of one of those feelings where you're just like, oh, this is a true writer. It's honestly a prolific writer,
Yeah, he's
but
something.
very, very few people can get to that level of, his amount of discipline in writing. And I don't even know if it's necessarily discipline and work ethic. It's just who he is and what he does, period.
Yeah, this is what he does, and he does it very well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, most of the time. I can't say I love everything he's ever done.
Yeah. But for the most part, like, it mostly wins and losses with him.
Uh-huh. But it's interesting too that he, like you said, he has a universe, and some of the things will come up over and over again, but it doesn't matter, it still feels right. It still is like, I don't mind seeing, here we go again with Bangor, Maine, and Indian burial ground. That's okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah, same here. Give me more of that.
Scary, yeah.
All right, so let's go with my number 2 favorite King adaptation, and that's going to be something we just talked about a little bit. That's going to be the 1990 miniseries It.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That's in my honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, the fucking best, and the best portrayal of Pennywise by Tim Curry.
Yeah, you can't top it.
No.
You cannot top it.
Yeah, you can't fuck with Tim Curry. Like,
nope.
He's a fantastic actor. I mean, look at him when he was in Legend playing the darkness.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's phenomenal. And yeah, it's one of the best performances of all time for sure, by far.
Yeah, and it captures the mood from the book. Even though the miniseries wasn't like to the book or anything. There was, very similar, but it wasn't to the book. But it captured that mood, that darkness. Yep. It's like,
It really did. And that's difficult. And it really did. Yeah.
The part that really got me too, growing up watching this, was the part where Pennywise's head ended up turning into like a Doberman. You remember the head?
Oh my God!
I was like, oh fuck, a clown with a Doberman head. Oh man.
That's my worst nightmare. I didn't even know it.
You got the little the clown hands and the fucking dog head. Like, oh, who came up with that? That's horrifying.
Right. There's something about it that just makes you feel like deeply disturbed. The fact that it's like these adults that all remember the same horrific thing as kids, you're just like, oh, and they're going to try to come back and fight it. It's like so harrowing,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about too, I was like, oh man, thinking about the 1990 It, and I was like, I miss John Ritter.
Oh,
and I was like, wait, I miss Harry Anderson too. Wait, I miss Jonathan Brandis. All 3 of those guys are gone.
Yeah.
And that sucks. They weren't even like older, It's just sad. But yeah, 3 great actors in It no longer with us.
Yeah, it's horrible. The older we get, the the more we're going to be losing like our like heroes of film and stuff, which is horrible to think about, and it fucking sucks, man.
But even just like, like those 3 guys weren't even that old, Obviously no. Jonathan Brandis wasn't. So it's also kind of like, just the tragedy. Like yesterday I remembered that Anton Yelchin had passed away.
Oh yeah.
That day, yesterday. I think it was, I don't remember what year it was, but years ago, and I'll never forget that day and just being like, God, horrible loss of talent. Mm-hmm. Just for no, just for some senseless random accident.
Right.
Just it's so sad.
It is.
Yeah, the last one what's the last like big actor name that really hit you? I think mine might have been Paxton, where I was just like, no.
Oh, Paxton was heavy.
That was heavy.
Yeah, he was a great actor. And there was somebody recently that passed away that really got me too. I'm just having a kind of a little bit of foggy brain here trying to think, because there's a lot of people that pass away that kind of impact me. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Was it Bob Saget?
No, not really, but it was sad though, because
it was sad because it didn't need to happen. Yeah.
And they said he died of a concussion. They found out supposedly.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy. Remember, you always were told you get hit in the head, don't go to sleep. Like, I guess that shit was true. Like, I didn't believe when I was a kid. I'm always hitting my fucking head. It, like,
I feel like
it
men
happened.
are more prone to die from things like that because, guys try to stick it out. Or let me just say, because it's 2022, masculine energies are more prone to fucking get knocked on the head to where you probably heard your skull crack and then
Hmm.
not go to the emergency room.
Well, I gotta say
Let me
that's
just
pretty
go to
true.
sleep forever.
I've had a limb hit me in the head not too long ago at work. I was cutting something. It wasn't a big limb, but it was enough to jar
Oh
me a
my
little bit, and
God.
I just kept on going. Only time I've been to the hospital, well, I had to get some stitches when I cut through my knee with a pair of industrial-sized hedge trimmers. I
Jesus.
couldn't walk that off. I had to get like 10 stitches and play a show that night.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Although
staples are coming out.
Bob Saget also, he could have just been really dazed. So I'm going to give him some credit, like what if he just really didn't even know what was going on
Right.
and laid down and that was it. So who knows?
Yeah,
So
who knows?
all I know is if I'm conscious and I just fell, I would just go to the ER right away.
Yeah, better be on the safe side.
I don't know. If I hear my skull crack, I think it's
Yeah,
beyond the
yeah.
safe side.
Yeah, you might want to go. You might want to call EMS to come get you too. I wouldn't drive.
Yeah. Call an Uber to the ER. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. All right, so my least favorite number two. I think did I already say this? No, I didn't. It's actually the Stan 2020 TV show. That was my number two least favorite.
Oh yeah, we went over that one because I
Yeah,
have that on there too.
yeah. So
So
I
we're in
agree with
agreement.
everything you said about it. Like
Hmm.
the only thing that's worth the shit was Skarsgård to a point. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's about it I can say about
You,
that. It's horrible.
I don't have any more least favorites. Do you have
I
another one like your
Yeah,
top?
I'll go ahead and throw my top least favorite, and this might be a lot of people's least favorite. It was the Tommy Knockers TV miniseries that came out in the
Ah,
90s.
yeah,
Boring
that's a
as
good
fuck.
call.
Yeah, I don't even really like the book too much. Like the book's
Uh-huh.
all right, but it's pretty dry. And then the
Yes.
miniseries was pretty dry. I didn't, and I liked a lot of those miniseries that came around that time. So the Stephen King stuff, but this is definitely my least favorite. Probably my least
Hmm.
favorite Stephen King. It's tied though with like I said, the Stan TV show that just came out. They're tied for kind of number one and two, so you can kind of throw them
Oh
either
yeah.
way. So, but yeah, I just didn't like it. It didn't do anything for me. I didn't like none of the characters, and the whole
I get
aliens thing was kind of like, eh.
I get that one mixed up with the Langoliers.
Yeah, I don't
Tommy
mind the
Knockers and
Langoliers
Langoliers.
actually, but they had
Yeah.
horrible special effects. Even back then, like the Langoliers were so horrible looking. Storyline's fucking cool as shit. Like you're eating reality and stuff, but
Uh-huh.
resetting reality. But the way they looked, it was just they're giant balls of like CGI fuzz. you know, with like these
Uh-huh.
crazy weird teeth that you can tell were super fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is my top of the list. So I guess we're going to is it number two of your favorite? Do you have a number two and one?
So I have a number one, and
Okay.
it's a definite number one, and then I have like just a handful of honorable mentions that I just. Do you mind if I just like speed through those
Yeah, hit
and
them out. Yeah.
say what they are and why?
Yep.
So the Dead Zone because of Christopher Walken
Oh,
and Cronenberg. Good book too.
mhm.
Cujo is really good. Like the performances I thought are great. Dee Wallace and the little kid from Who's the Boss,
Mhm.
Danny Pintaro, amazing performances. And then Children of the Corn was probably the first, horror movie I ever saw, like, and I wasn't supposed to.
Mhm.
So kind of have a soft spot for that. I also have a soft spot for The Lawnmower Man, even though it's
Oh yeah,
kind of
me too.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad in a good way. And I love Pierce Brosnan and Jeff Fahey. We already mentioned Silver Bullet. Running Man, one of those Bachman
Mm, yeah.
stories,
Yep.
really fun, entertaining, action sci-fi. Love The Running Man. Um, and I liked the TV. I think it was a film. I don't think it was maybe it was a series, but Desperation. I want to mention because it was filmed here in Tucson, and
Oh, cool.
um, my friend Michael Peterson was a makeup artist on it and taught me what I know about makeup. So I
Oh, that's
think that's pretty
badass.
pretty neat. So those are
Yeah,
my honorable mentions.
those are good ones. I like Desperation. I also like the book too. The book is really cool.
Oh yeah, I haven't read the book.
Yeah, it's long as hell. Of course, a lot of Stephen King stuff is super long, but this one is extra long. I think I did the audiobook and it was like 25 hours, I think, or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm listening to one now that's 35 hours. It's called Carrying Comfort, I believe.
Oh, Carrying Comfort. I remember
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. Hmm.
Psychic Vampires. It's all right. It's a little
Yeah.
dry for me. It's so goddamn long, but I'm because I don't want to stop now. I'm already like fucking 10 hours in, so
Yeah. That's too much to just stop now.
yeah. But my number one of Stephen King adaptations is the 1994 miniseries The Stand by the great Mick Garris.
Ah, yes.
I fucking
That one
love
has
The Stand.
Joe Bob in it too, right?
Yeah, I think a scene got cut out though, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. Like, he still might be in there. I think he was in the casino scene or something that was in there.
that's funny.
I can remember it being in there though, so it might still be there. But I've also heard it was cut out.
Yeah,
I need to rewatch that again and see just to see Joe Bob.
I do too. I'm kind of like it's been a while since I watched. Yeah, the Stan miniseries was so much better than the new one.
Oh man, like miles and miles
Yeah,
better than the new one. I
for
even told
sure.
Mick Garris that. I talked to Mick last weekend or weekend before last. I was talking to Mick on here and stuff. And I was like, yeah, the new stand. It's like I didn't like that very much. So your stand is way better.
For sure.
He didn't want to say like, oh yeah, that new one sucked. You could tell he knew the new one wasn't very good.
Yeah. Also, his miniseries for The Shining was really good too. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about sticking close to the book, but it really did. Like, I enjoyed seeing a different version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know,
That
and
one also
Steven
scared
Weber's
me as a
great.
kid. What's that?
Yeah, and Steven Weber is great. I'm glad that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that
he
scene
did a good job.
with the ghost in the tub really got me, and in his Shining TV series,
Uh-huh.
I think that one was scarier than fucking the Kubrick one to me
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
terrifying. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Mick Garris's wife that played that part
Oh,
in
really? Wow.
yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like at least 90% sure it was. I think
Jeez.
to look on
That
that
sounds
some
like a fun thing to film.
yeah. But yeah, his stand holds up. Like I got a special edition Blu-ray they just released a few years ago and stuff, and just it looks
Hmm.
better. It's like in 4K or whatever and stuff. But
Oh, cool.
it's
Yeah.
still fucking great. And like, that's how the stand is when I see it in my head after reading. I've read the stand a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
times, and I get that same feeling as I got from the book watching his miniseries. He
Uh-huh. That's
nailed it.
what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he makes
That's
a
a good
TV
one.
show look like total crap.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah. Cool. Well, that was some good lists there of stuff we don't like and stuff we do like, and I think we kind of like went across the whole spectrum of like kind
I
of deep
didn't
dives the main stuff.
I didn't tell you my number one.
I thought you did. Oh
No, I
shit, give
named
me
some
what's your number?
honorable mentions,
Oh,
but
that
I
was
didn't
all
get to number
mentions.
one.
Oh
I
hell
also have
yeah.
a couple film series that I want to mention too, and then I'll tell you my number one.
Okay, let's go for it. Yeah.
Okay, Gerald's Game. They're both Netflix. Gerald's Game I thought was really, really good, and that degloving scene from with
Oh
her.
man, yeah.
Oh, I honestly felt like I was gonna faint. I've never felt that before watching a movie, and I was laying down, so that says like a lot, I think. But I thought that was great, and also In the Tall Grass was.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done. I thought the performances were great, and they did a good job with the source material.
You read a short
Um,
story on that?
yeah,
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 that's brutal
it's a
that
good one.
ending. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of endings, my number one Stephen King adaptation film is The Mist.
Oh, good one. Hell yeah, I
High
love
and
that.
Far. Yeah. Directed and a screenplay written by Frank Darabont. It, that ending is what makes it, It's so haunting and just like that Dead Can Dance song playing and talk about bad timing. um, it's just so tragic and sad and visceral and it's stayed with me. From the first time I saw that, I was just so like disturbed and shocked, and I like getting a lot of like impactful. I love to feel emotions evoked from me from film, and that one
Mhm.
definitely does it. And I would say the black and white version I actually really like even more than the color. It just works so much better with the creatures. and gives
Yeah.
it that kind of like B movie quality, which is fun. But I rarely prefer a black and white version, but this is the exception.
Yeah, it totally works with the Mist. I think that's how it should have been, I guess, to begin with. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh.
I was reading that he had like a decent budget, but they were going to give him more money if he agreed to change the ending to something more cheerful.
Hmm.
And he was like, no, which is so Frank Darabont, but
Hmm.
I feel like he's like my idol.
Yeah.
Like he just does what he wants and says, fuck it. I know what I'm doing. Um, so I just love that he wanted it ultimately to have that ending and stuck with it and said, I don't need more money.
Yeah, it ended with a bang,
Cool.
right?
Yeah, like what, five bangs?
Yeah. So dark and like, oh yeah, they're gonna get away. Cool. Yeah, they're seeing the light of day here. And no, that's not how that happened. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I didn't see that coming.
No, no. It's so effective. But yeah, that's why The Mist is my top.
Nice, that's a good one. And also captures that Lovecraft feeling too. Like that's a very
Yeah,
Lovecraftian film, like big time, and the
that's
fucking
true.
giant tentacle monsters. That's like a fear of mine saying like, what if there is another dimension and we rip a hole in there trying to figure out like new weaponry and shit and we unleash fucking Cthulhu like creatures onto the earth. Like, fuck that, man. You want to
Is
deal
it
with
the
that? Like,
tentacles
what's that?
or is it the tentacles that bother you?
Just dealing with giant creatures. I think the flying ones would be the worst for me. Like those flying things are horrible. Like harder to get away from too.
I understand.
Yeah.
That reminds me, season 2 of Raised by Wolves has some really cool, unique creatures that are pretty terrifying.
I'm on the first episode of that, and I haven't went back to it yet for some reason because there's so many fucking shows
Really?
to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to those. I love the first season, and I'm on this first season. I mean, first
Oh,
episode of the second season, and I
gotcha.
haven't. Yeah, I need to go back to it. I got sidetracked on something else.
And you're watching From
I
also?
am. I caught up with from
Yeah,
all the way to
very
episode
Stephen
5
Kingy.
yesterday. What's that?
It's very Stephen Kingy,
It
even though it's
is. It
not
does
Stephen
feel
King.
Stephen Kingy. I don't. Some of the like. There's a lot of the characters. Like the interaction with the characters is a little kind of weak to me right now. Like
Yeah.
to me. I want to see more of these fucking creatures in the woods, and when I want to see
Yeah.
more of them, they're like, "Oh, well, why don't you want to love me?" The husband and wife fighting and shit like that. All right, this is cool. Let's go back to the other shit now. How about that little boy in the woods? Let's see what he's got going on. How about the crazy guy with the lunchbox? I want to hear
Oh,
more.
that guy's great. He
Yeah,
reminds me of like Lux Interior. He's so cool and weird and tall and dark and everything.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I agree. I can't stand the entire family in the RV, but the
no,
show
no,
is really good. The sheriff is great. Some of the
yeah,
other characters are really fun, but that RV family, I hope that they just all get killed.
yeah. And unfortunately, I don't see that happen. And they're kind of.
No,
I think they're
that
gonna be
little,
part of the heroes.
no, totally. That little boy in the RV family is so Canadian. It's hilarious. Like his
Yeah,
accent is so
yeah.
strong. I'm like, how did that happen? Your dad's American, your mother is like Spanish American, and then you are over here like with this super strong Canadian accent. It's
Hmm.
hilarious.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm like, something's a little off about his voice there, and like that makes sense now, Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to look him up. I was like, oh yeah, he's Canadian.
But overall, like as of right now, I'm giving it like an 8 out of 10, which I like it.
Sure.
It just hasn't really caught me yet, but I think it's going in that direction.
Yeah,
So
it's such a like it's got like things you've seen before, but not in this way. So
right.
it's kind of like, are they like zombies? No, not quite. They're monsters, but like we don't know yet what exactly they are. So it's in that way, it's kind of new and fresh, and I appreciate that.
And I'm really hoping they're not ghosts because that shit's. I don't be ghosts because that's so predictable. Be something else. Be some kind of crazy ass fucking creature type things in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Well,
think they're
no,
ghosts.
that little kid, this little cute kid in horror is out there in the woods, and he'll have the key.
Yeah, and the kid dressed in white. I think he's like the key to all this too. I think he's like the head.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I'm hoping
yeah. He
that's
looks
how
like
that goes.
he has a little tennis outfit on or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought he was the same exact kid as the kid on the RV at first.
I thought so too. When he first got stabbed, and well, I mean, we got the through his leg, and he saw the boy there for the first time. I think he saw him. Yeah, he saw him then.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah, I
him.
thought he saw himself.
Yeah. So So that's got a little weird, but yeah, there's
Uh-huh.
a little bit different now. You can see the differences, but it's
Hmm.
catching me. It's getting there. It's growing on me. I didn't like.
Yeah.
I watched. It took me a whole week to get through the 5 episodes. I was doing like one a night or something like that, But
Hmm.
there's another one too. Actually, you gotta get the iTunes movie thing. You gotta get Apple TV or
Got to
whatever.
figure that out.
It's $3 a month, by the way. So you just go.
That's
If you
it.
use Roku, there's an app that says Apple TV. You just download that, and it's like $3 a month.
Man, well, how much is Roku? I got to spend all this money just to get
Oh,
like?
what do you use for your streaming?
I just use Google Chrome off my phone. I have an Android.
Oh shit! You should be able to go to the App Store and find. Well, since it's
Well,
Android, I don't know if they want to
I tried
communicate.
it and that app didn't work at all. So I
Shit.
don't know what's going on.
All
But I
right.
want to watch something called The Foundation. So
Yeah, that's on there, and there's another one called The Servant, which is new M. Night Shyamalan TV show, which is actually really fucking good.
oh,
It's
okay.
called Servant. It's called Servant. Yeah, that one's on the like third or fourth season. It's a slow burn, but yeah, I
Hmm.
still don't know what the fuck is going on after 3 or 4 seasons. Like I'm starting to finally unravel a bit more. It's real slow, but it's really good and like keeps you guessing like what's going on here because you don't fucking know. But
Yeah, he does that and then he disappoints you. So I'm just a little bit not sure.
well, I recommend this one. I think you'll dig it.
Okay.
It's really good. It's some of his best work. And there's another one. It's called shit. It's a new one. I'm trying to look up the name of it right now. I think it's called Severance. Yeah, it's called Severance. Have you heard of that
Hmm.
one?
No.
All right. It's a bit of a dark comedy somewhat. There's a little bit of comedy in there, but it's mostly
Okay.
sci-fi horror.
Oh,
But
nice.
it's let's say like you were able to separate your work self from your home self. Well, in this timeline, they're able to do that. It's called severance is the name of the process, and it pretty much severs your mind from home to work. So if you're at work,
Oh,
and
wow.
when you punch out and go down the elevator or up the elevator, you forget
Uh-huh.
everything you did at work that day. So when you're at home, you don't know shit that you did at work. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that
They're two
doesn't sound
separate
that different from my regular life.
But that one's really good, and it's
That
going
looks
all these
good.
places.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking it up. I like Adam Scott and Patricia Arquette. That looks
yeah.
cool.
Patricia Arquette's awesome. She liked one of my tweets when I said I liked the show, so that was pretty cool. Famous now.
You had a good day that day.
Yeah, yeah. I love when celebrities do that. Like, holy shit. Like that
Yeah.
creator of What We Do in Shadows retweeted me. He's like, oh, Horrible
Oh,
666 says that's good. It must be good. I'm like, holy shit. And it's
that's awesome.
yeah. So I like when shit like that happens. But yeah, those two
Yeah.
shows are like highly recommended for me. Like I
Man,
both of them.
I've tried Apple and just haven't gotten pulled over because I like all the customization of Android, but they've got so many good shows. Even like that, was it called Ted Blasco? I want to watch that too.
I've heard that was good. Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm not seeing in the app store on Google that it's available. I don't know what. I'll figure it out. I'm missing too
Roku
many
right
good
now, they're
things.
like $20 off Amazon if you get a Roku, and then Roku's free. You just got to buy the actual device, and it plugs into your
Okay.
HDMI, and then you download a Roku app on your phone, and then you could like fucking. Or I'm
Huh.
sorry, it'd be on your TV. As soon as you plug that thing in, it'd be like a whole new interface for your smart TV, and it'd be the Roku app. So you have
Perfect.
all that shit there. So
I'm gonna do that. I tried Fire TV and it stopped working for some reason.
yeah,
Thanks,
I don't like
Amazon.
TV. I tried all of them, and Roku's like the top one, and it also streams
Cool.
Joe Bob the best. Like
Oh
everybody
yeah.
has trouble streaming Joe Bob on Shutter because they either go out on them or whatever, and like Roku is the best one to do that. Like it never goes out. So
All right. So now you have a sponsor.
I wish I want Shutter to be a sponsor. So if they're
Yeah.
listening by from Shutter, yeah.
If they're listening, if they don't, then maybe you could go over to Screenbox.
I just tried. I did the 7-day free trial just to watch the old Nightmare on Elm Street TV series from back when I
Yeah.
was a kid. It's
Uh-huh.
pretty good, but they got a very similar selection to Shutter. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
do they?
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out yet. I did download it, and I for the same reason I wanted to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street series because it's been a while, obviously. But I was like, I don't know. I didn't. It's for me, it's a little bit difficult to find like even what movies are on Shudder, even though I have it because I have it on Amazon. I used to use the app, changed over to Amazon. It's just like not set up in a way on Amazon where you can easily
No.
find. I don't know what's up with that.
Amazon does that a lot with their streaming channels. I notice, like, they
Weird.
probably do the same with, Scream TV. But so far with
Yeah.
Scream TV, Nightmare on Elm Street's
Boombox.
really cool, and I hear they're going to be doing more like original stuff from because I think
Hmm,
either Bloody Disgusting owns them now, I
that's
believe,
right.
and so they're supposed to be doing more with it from what I hear. So I'll probably come back to it once more shit gets going. As of right now, like, there's nothing really there for me. So because I've seen it all already, and like most Shutter has most of the
Oh,
stuff to have on there. So
yeah.
you know.
It looks like Screambox is going to have an original documentary about Pennywise, the story of it. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, that is cool. And I said I've been hearing good things that they're going to be starting to do like more shit, being that they're under different ownership now because they've been out for a little
Mhm.
while. But
I see. Yeah, definitely. It's Bloody Disgusting that's taken them up.
hmm so
That's cool. We'll see what happens. I
yeah,
mean,
more horror the better.
I agree. Yeah.
I've only got 50 streaming services already. Why not add 51?
I want them all. I have no problem with having like a ton of apps. No
No,
big
I
deal.
have I have so many I don't even remember half the ones I have, and then I go back if I'm not using that app, I just go ahead and like de-describe from it or whatever, like unsubscribe the fucking thing, then come back a month later and fucking subscribe again because there's new shows on there that I gotta see, like
Yep,
Front
I'm the
now
same.
again.
The only one that I might stay unsubscribed from that I'm on and off with is Criterion because I'm always like, oh, I'm an intellectual. I do want to see all of these films on Criterion. And then when I actually get down to it, I'm like, I don't feel like it. I'm not in the mood for these really like amazing classic independent films.
Right.
I don't know. My brain thinks it's smarter than it is, but when I get on Criterion, I'm just like, shit, this is some heavy stuff to sit down and watch.
I haven't done that one
Altman, I
yet.
don't know if I can handle some Altman films. It's a lot for my brain to compute.
I can recommend another one that you probably already have, but do you have Arrow Player?
No, I do have the Full Moon app, but
Oh,
Arrow,
Hogan,
that's a
that's
good
cool too.
call.
Yeah, Arrow
Yeah.
is fucking awesome because the cool thing with what they do with their releases on there, they actually include like all the special features on there, like you would on a
Oh,
Blu-ray.
nice.
Yeah, and
That's
I think that's
cool.
that's a nice small little touch, and they got a lot of like weird shit that they got curated on there. Like a lot of stuff you're not gonna find anywhere, and they got great transfers of it too, like fucking
Oh,
4K, like it looks really good. Like I love Arrow. Arrow and Shutter are my favorites.
yeah. All right. I'm convinced. I'm downloading it now.
Nice.
What?
Add that to number 51 for you too, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, now I'm seeing a bunch more I want to kind of download, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, they say it's cheaper when you cut cable. I can tell you it probably ain't really. After all,
I don't think so. I don't really remember how much cable costs, but it's
I don't know.
definitely not cheaper.
Yeah, I haven't had cable in like freaking 20 years, so.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird to me when I know someone that still has it. I'm like, what are you doing? And they just watch like old shows from like the 60s, I'm like, why
Yeah,
are you why do you have it? Like you just don't like TV, do you? You don't like movies. That's why you don't have cable.
that's my parents. They just told me they were complaining to me that they had a $300 cable bill. I'm like, 300 fucking
Oh
dollars.
my
Like, what do y'all want?
God.
Well, we just rented a few movies off of there. I'm like, why? As I dad, all you gotta do is fucking get internet, which you already have, and then Netflix. Like, that's all you need for stuff you watch. What do
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
My friend buys DVDs like crazy. He has a massive, like seriously, like video store size amount of DVDs in his apartment now. Like he could
Wow.
definitely open up a rental store. And he's always buying them. Like every time we go to the bookstore, there's just more and more DVDs
Mhm.
and doesn't have a single app. No Netflix, no Disney Plus, none of that. And I
Whoa.
think that's so weird. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like how
It's the total opposite of
How can
everything.
you stand your life?
Wow.
Yeah, and then he likes Marvel stuff. He likes the Disney Plus Star Wars stuff that comes out, but
hmm
I don't know. I don't know. Like I think there's some people that are just a little bit anti-technology and will stay that way.
I mean, we need those types too. It balances everything out, I think. And I love physical
Mhm.
media too, but I go crazy sometimes on like special edition shit, especially special edition VHSs and stuff that are coming out now. Like,
Oh no.
God, I love those. I don't even fucking play them because I don't want my VHS player to eat them up. So they're like
Yeah.
pristine and then their original casing and stuff like that. But I have to own it. I want it. I have to have it.
Yep. I'm like that with t-shirts, and then little like doll things, like any kind of figures. If it's related to Universal monsters, Dracula, Suspiria, or not Suspiria, subspecies,
Oh, I
I'm
love
definitely gonna get it.
subspecies. Yeah, I saw those
Yeah.
cards you posted of the subspecies stuff. I think it was a full moon card deck or
Yeah.
something. That was cool as shit.
Yeah, there's this weird little random toy store here, and the guy has an entire box full of those packs, and I think they're all just the same. That's why I just got like 3.
Hmm.
But he was only selling them like, well, actually they weren't cheap. They were like $8 each, for like 5 cards, $4 a card, but they're unique.
Yeah.
But he didn't even know what they were. He was just like, I don't know. Like, this is
I know
cool, dude.
subspecies.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the
I
best
love
vampire films ever made. All of them. I like all of them, so they're all cool.
I do
think there's
too.
4 of them, right?
Yeah.
Or 5.
I'm not sure. I wonder if they're all like filmed out there in the same, is it Romania, the same place? But I just fell in love with them and never went back, and I just think they're great, and they don't lose like anything over time to me.
No. And was it the main vampire Radu?
Radu, yeah,
Yeah,
he's so
his
great.
fucking fingers, man. No, it's so creepy. Like I just remember that as a kid. Like those long ass creepy fingers of his that could
Yeah,
turn into, like little gargoyle things if they're fucking cut off.
he's a cool character. He's
Yes.
a like little mix of different vampires and but his own thing. So I always liked that and thought the character was fun, and it's definitely got that full moon 80s feel or 90s feel, early 90s, which also feels 80s to me. It has that quality about it. Like, I don't like a ton of 90s horror, but definitely these films qualify as good 90s.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And on a collectible front or whatever, I'm obsessed with anything Mandy. So I know you saw that poster.
me
I got
too.
a fucking miniature
Yes.
fucking axe. It was
So
smaller
how
than I
big
thought it
is
was
it?
gonna be. I thought it was gonna be bigger. It says 16 inches. I'm like, this is like more 12 or so, but okay, it's still cool as fuck. So
That's
yeah.
a good size. It's like a pickaxe.
Yeah, you could use it one-handed if you want to, if you got to take somebody out,
Like a tomahawk.
Yeah, it works great as that, and you can actually sharpen it. It even says on the website, if you wanted to, you can sharpen these.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had more money, I'd love the full size one.
Oh,
A friend of mine like made one, like out of like I think sort of like the form building stuff that you could just like cut out shapes, and I think it's kind of like a styrofoam base. I don't know how to describe it, but a lot of like cosplayers use that for armor and stuff.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That would be cool and a lot lighter too.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot lighter. Yeah. He made one of those. Looked really good.
Yeah.
That's such a great example of like how to do a horror film well, by putting a ton of like weird merchandisable items and characters in it.
Yeah.
Because like when you compare, like, for instance, 2 great films that we both really enjoyed, Mandy and Pig, they're
Yes.
very different. But I'm not gonna go buy any like a truffle pig doll,
Right. Yeah, there's no merch in that you can really get.
Yeah, there's no merch.
No.
But with Mandy, it's massive amounts of merch, and you want to be associated with that merch. It makes you like, like part of this like cult classic fandom. But that's another thing I love about like horror community is that like just the merch, all the cool merch and the iconic things that make you like go even more crazy about a movie for like years and years and years.
Yep, I've spent so much money on Mandy. Like since Mandy's come out, I've been on it the whole time. Whenever Spectrovision or whatever release anything new on Mandy or Legion, they got something new. I'm like, oh man, I got to get that. How much is that? I can swing that. I was so close to buying that full size axe. I was so close, but I saw shipping was like $100. I'm like, I can't fucking spend $500 on this thing. I want to so bad. I was like, then the miniature one was there. I was like, oh, $60. That's a fucking steal. I'm getting it. I was like, fuck it.
I don't mind that at all. That's money well spent. I trick myself by putting my purchases in PayPal and doing the 4 payments.
I've seen that.
Away. It's so ghetto.
I need to try that actually because there's more shit I want to buy, of course. But
it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You saw those cassettes that I have, right? The Mandy ones. I haven't even taken them out or anything.
The cassettes? I don't think I've seen the cassettes. No.
I have these 2 really cool. They're Mandy soundtrack cassettes, and let me see if I can like find any information on them. They're like super rare, and so the covers were like VHS style, and I have one It has like this, what is it called? The serpent, like fake book cover, and the other one is just like the oh yeah, the Lenora Tor Seeker of the Serpent's Eye cover. But yeah, they were put out by, let's see, they have digital albums on them apparently. I haven't even like opened them. But oh yeah, they only had 50 copies of them. And yeah, if you go to mandysoundtrack.bandcamp.com, that's where you can find out where those are.
No
But
shit,
yeah,
I didn't know about those. Okay, those kind of threw me.
they're really cool. It's yeah, they're sold out. But yeah, I actually one of my friends is the owner of Redbird Music, and was basically still in Def, the manager for Johan Johansson's library.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
He has some like various Johan Johansson merchandise and stuff, of course. But yeah, he sent me these, and I was like, holy shit. These are like the coolest things I have.
That's way
we'll
better.
ever have.
I keep those things in like glass or something.
Yeah, they're really neat. I'll like put a picture on my Instagram of them or something. But yeah, that's from the moment I saw that film, I was like, well, this is going to be one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is.
Yep. That's the same thing that happened with me first watch. Like halfway through that movie, it's like, what the fuck am I watching? It's like the best shit ever. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, I just felt it. I'm like, whoa, this is everything I love in film.
For sure. Yeah. And you're also a fan of like Nicholas Winding Refn films too, right?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Same kind of feeling I get when I watch his movies, where I'm just like, okay, this is going to be one of my favorite things ever. He just like knocks everything out of the park.
It did, and it's made like everything else I've watched horror-wise, like it doesn't add up to Mandy. Like, I know it's totally different, but still, Mandy's ruined every fucking horror film for me since Mandy. I'm like, man.
Someone was asking me the other day if Panos Cosmatos was up to anything new, and I haven't seen anything. Have you?
I've heard some things. There's some rumors here and there because he stays quiet. I've been trying to get an interview with him for a while now, but you can't just reach out to him like that. He's not available like that. You know what I mean? Hard to reach. But I've heard like there's things in the works, so he's probably working as we speak, and it's gonna pop up with something badass here either this year or next year. You know what I mean?
I love the idea of just all of a sudden just something comes out. I mean, from Beyond the Black Rainbow to Mandy, that was 8 years.
And it makes sense. So, how long has it been since Mandy's been out? What?
2018 is when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just undercover over there. I don't see anything, but like you said, it could be like completely unknown, and he could be up to something. But yeah, I know that when he asked for Johan Johansson to do the score, and he didn't have a lot of money, and Johan Johansson loved Beyond the Black Rainbow, and he was like, yeah, you don't have to pay me, and here's some money to finish Mandy, which is amazing. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. So cool. And it kind of got Nicolas Cage rolling again, kind of set him up. Like, he's been fucking going strong since Mandy again, which is great.
Yeah, I feel like he's done some pretty good stuff prior to Mandy, but not, I know what you mean. It was like, then it was kind of like, oh shit, he's back. Yeah.
Like the fire's lit, it's like, all right, Nicolas Cage needs to be in this. He's in this. I mean, some of the shit he's still in ain't that great, but that's not his fault, If you use Nicolas Cage right, put him in the right role, he's fucking amazing. One of the best actors ever,
And Pig is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like if anyone has any doubt that he's not a great actor, watch Pig, and you'll be reminded. He's a great actor. In the right hands, holy shit. It's such a touching movie.
That ending was so damn sad.
All of it. All of it was sad. It's such a weird movie, and it was just like so beautifully done and written, and just came out of nowhere. And I was like, "What is this?" It's such a weird story,
Right. And it was filmed like a horror movie. The way it looked just like a horror movie, but there was no horror whatsoever in there. And it also, like, somebody was telling me, "Oh, it's the John Wick of food movies or some shit." I'm like, I don't see that either. There's no fucking violence in this movie. Except for
anyone that says that it's a John Wick type film hasn't really watched it, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
it really is not like John Wick whatsoever. I mean, so he's getting revenge for beloved pet, but it's really not the same at all. It's not like the whole film is like just revenge, revenge, revenge. It's like really beautiful, kind of intricate storylines that weave in and out, with Alex Wolff too. His character is great, and hadn't seen him since Hereditary, I think.
Oh yeah.
He was great, and Adam Arkin was amazing. Like, yeah, it was very unexpectedly touching, and like I watched it myself. I just went down to the Loft, which is our like art house film theater here, and I was sitting there, and it was like a rainy day, and I was like, what is this salty discharge coming out of my eyes? It was just so moving, and beautiful too, the setting and everything. But yeah, in fact, it's weird because I do think of it as a horror film for some reason.
Yeah, it has
you're
that
right,
feeling.
it's really not. But
Like this looks like it, like it feels like there's something coming. There's something coming. It never comes, but you know what I mean? Like, is he gonna grab a chainsaw and fucking go crazy on these guys? No. He's gonna grab like, some cooking shit and go crazy. It never happens, but it's its own
I would
thing.
say psychologically I was horrified.
Yeah.
Being an animal lover too, you just can't help but feel horrible.
That's what got me. That's like if somebody kidnapped one of our cats. Like, I can only fucking imagine. I couldn't take that shit.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, these people need to pay. You cannot go and take somebody's precious, pet. And that, when he said like the character, what was his name? But it's Alex Garland's character, when he was like, well, why are you doing all this? And Nicolas Cage, he's just like, because I love her. I thought that was such a good little simple line. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He loved her. He loved that little pig. And plus, that he's also hurting from the death of like his wife.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was a spouse, but he's hurting and mourning. And that pig is all he has.
Yeah.
It's the only thing he cares about.
It's like he put the love that he had for his wife and all into this pig. It's like kind of the physical embodiment of it, sort of. You know what I mean? Like, this is all he loves now because Yeah.
Yeah, and animals are pure love. They're just innocent. So thinking about like there's so many layers to the movie, really. And I did not know anything about it going in. So when I started getting into his backstory, I was just like, wow, I'm impressed. There's like some Fight Club stuff going on for some reason. And then the chef stuff, and then that really badass speech when he sits down at that restaurant and
oh
my God, that was amazing.
The revenge speech, you know what I mean?
Yes, and just like that actor and his expressions, oh my God, he was amazing.
He's like, he didn't have to beat you with punches, he just beat you for what he just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie.
So, I'm looking forward to whatever that team of writers do next. It was written by Michael Sarnowski and Vanessa Block, and I think they just won like Best Original Script at the Independent Film Awards, maybe? Maybe I'm crazy. I thought I read that, and I was like, hell yeah, that was.
Yeah, they need all the awards they can get.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Don't disappear off the map just because it's hard.
That was my favorite film of last year. It did come out last year, right? It's hard to get the years right anymore because they just meld into one. I think it was last year, right?
Yeah, it was just last year.
That was my overall favorite film when I did my like top 9 or top 10 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Not hard, but this is my fucking favorite film. It's better than everything that came out.
That's right, because I remember asking like, because you did horror, and I was like, why isn't Pig here? And you're like, well, it's not really horror. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I wish it kind of is. I feel like this, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. What does it say? 2022 Film Independent Spirit Awards. I think that might have been I don't know. I thought I read that he got an award for Pig.
Well, he should.
Man, there's a lot of great just like movies and shows that were recognized in the Spirit Awards. I like kind of like Spirit Awards, SAG Awards, Globes better than the Oscars.
Mm-hmm. Get more recognition for, I think, better films too. Like the Oscars are kind of like, what they're gonna be like, the biggest budget World War II movie or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it. Best first screenplay. Like that's their first screenplay. That's really impressive. To like at least got produced. I'm assuming that's what that means. Like not their first ever written, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, super
really hard to write a screenplay. So
Never tried it, but I do write short stories when I'm in the mood. Like I like writing short stories. Never done a screenplay or anything like that, but I know what I
Yeah.
need. Yeah.
It's a whole different beast. Like any kind of writing is difficult, I think. But yeah, there's rules, and then there's things to do to get around the rules, and then there's a ton of things to learn just about storytelling in general for any writer, I would say. It's just really, it's just taxing and difficult, and a lot of like labor for one's brain, and it gets harrowing after a while. But trying not to think about it that way. If you are ever thinking about writing, like a novel or a screenplay, well, if you have a bunch of short stories, you could do an anthology. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's what's in the back of my head. I have so many projects going on right now I want to do. Like I'm also doing like a synthwave thing. I got 4 songs already
Oh,
done.
cool.
I'm gonna get like 8 of them up this year and put them on Bandcamp. Because I've
Nice.
done metal all my life, like, and I also love synth and dark, like atmospheric shit like that. So like, I'm gonna do a fucking wave album. I'm 4 songs in, and I'm beginning pretty good reviews from some of my friends that will tell you if it sucks or not. Working on that. And I've been working on like the short story stuff for a while too, like a couple of years now. It's been kind of on the back burner, and I just write when I'm motivated.
Yeah.
And I got a few good ones, I think. I mean, Daniel Noah from Spectre Vision, like my cat horror story that I have. It's a short story, and I can send you too if you want to check it out. He said, "Man, it's made me look at my cats totally different." I'm like, "Cool, that's a good thing."
So, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So I was looking around at some horror books yesterday, and I was like, you know what horror writer I really like, because I just saw some of his novels, and it's been a while, is Edward Lee. Do you ever read anything by him?
I have not, no.
Check some of his stuff out. He's written several short stories, but also some novels. Kind of like some splatterpunk stuff too. But his writing is like really like descriptive and visceral, and can be gory. He did have one of his shorts was made into a film. I think it was just like a kind of small independent film. But he's a great writer. And then also I love Richard Lehman, and he's deceased, but he wrote a ton of great books, horror books.
Yeah, I haven't read him either. I've heard of him, but it's hard for me to get away from Stephen King and Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Like I read so much of their stuff, like, and I go back to Lovecraft every once in a while too. And I try to veer off to some new people, but I usually go back to fucking King because he has so much stuff to still read that I haven't read yet. So.
Oh yeah. If you like, because I like those two writers as well, but if you end up like deciding someone else, maybe will be changed. Yeah, definitely check out Edward Lee and Richard Lehman.
Okay, most definitely. Yeah, I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, Richard Lehman just had a ton of stuff before he died still out there, and it looks like Edward Lee is still publishing. Seems like he had something a few years ago come out, but yeah, you might really like his stuff.
Okay. Oh, I appreciate the recommendation.
Fun. Yeah, they're
There's
fun.
so many. It's fun. Yeah. I need something that's not super dry, like what audiobook I'm reading right now. Like I told you, it's really dry. I need something to kind of change it up a little bit. So that sounds good.
Yeah. His stuff is like, it's also kind of like unexpected and quirky, where you're just like, what did I have to like read that sentence again, make sure I read that correctly.
Killer.
Yeah, good stuff. And same with Craig Zoller. He has some novels that they're not necessarily like horror, but like maybe Western horror, and I would really like his writing.
Okay, I'll probably have to have you send me some of these just that way I don't forget. So.
Yeah, I like reading his scripts too, as Craig Zoller.
Cool. Yeah, I love the recommendations on the authors because there's a ton of them out there, and it gets a little like I'm like I don't even know what the hell this is.
He wrote Bone Tomahawk and Dragged Across Concrete.
Oh, nice. I like both those films. Yep.
Good stuff.
Did he do what you call it, Cell Block? What's the name of that movie?
Brawl and Cell Block 99. Yeah.
Did he do that one too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brawl and Cell Block 99. Yep. He wrote it and directed it.
Oh man, yeah, that's a brutal fucking movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's the kind of writing I like. It's just sharp and crisp and like really like impactful, just where you're like, holy shit, this is violent but cool, at the same time, and kind of weird too.
Yeah,
his stuff is definitely weird.
And all three films have that same. Like, they can all take place almost in the same type of universe, even though it's different
Yep.
times. But it has they
Yep.
all have that same feeling. Real gritty, like super gritty,
Totally.
dark. Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe Shot Caller might be one of his. I don't remember actually. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that guy did he direct it too or no? Did he direct all three of those films as well, or he just wrote them all?
Let's see. I know that he definitely directed Brawl, but then like he's mostly a writer.
Okay, so I know
So
I thought it was the same fellow. He's also a drummer in a black metal band, and I'm not sure if that's the same person. I
as
think
Cold
it might be.
Scholar? I don't
Yeah,
think he doesn't
I don't
look
think
like
so.
it.
Okay, this might be the different band, but
Let's
associated
see.
like drummer in a black metal band.
You know what? You could be right because I'm looking now at it. So Bone Tomahawk, he was the director, the writer, and the composer. So he
Yeah,
does do
it's
music.
him. Yeah, he
Same
don't
with
look the
Brawl
part.
and Cell Block 99.
I think he might have looked the part back when he was a little bit younger and stuff, like he was in a black metal band.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah, but he wrote some novels. I love his writing. Congregation of Jackals is a badass book. I've read a couple of his like unproduced scripts, and they were really good. He did a sci-fi one that I liked a lot, and he just came out with a graphic novel that's really cool, like a couple years ago. Forbidden Surgeries of the Hideous Dr. Divinius.
Oh, cool.
It's really neat. It's like all black and white. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his work. It's very like manly stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he also wrote, directed, and did the music on Dragged Across Concrete.
Okay.
So that was 2018.
I might check out his written stuff then. I had no idea. I know, responsible for the movies, but I know there's books they're based on, so that's cool.
Yeah, I found some of the books on Amazon. Hug Chick Penny is another one. I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, they're all like
they're
brutal
Western.
and as like his films are like book wise. I should be in store for some good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking earlier of storms, what is that Stephen King one that you had? Was your top
Storm of the Century?
Storm of the Century. He has a script that he wrote. It's set in the like Old West era, and it's kind of similar where a storm comes in, and but in this one, as the storm comes in, these gunslingers like take over the town. But the storm is almost like a evil entity in and of itself that kind of is a shield over the town that hides them from getting like caught. But they're like going through like legitimate like rape and pillage of the town. It's crazy. It's such a good story, but it's kind of like you want to see the sheriff get his revenge,
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of surprising that one never got produced because I thought it was a fantastic script.
Who knows? Hopefully, maybe to get picked up or something,
Yeah, you never know. Things just sit around for a while.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah.
This has been a fucking fun ass talk. I've really enjoyed it. I love talking Stephen King, especially with the other person who loves Stephen King. So it works out great.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, really enjoyed.
Yeah, I had fun. Thank you.
Yeah, and we should do this again. We'll do like another top something to something. So we'll get together again and do another one. So
yeah, anytime. I like all different sort of horror topics, and then even off topic of horror but related. Whatever you want to do, I'm down.
Sounds good. And I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And it was great talking with you.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.
Take it easy.
All right, you too. Bye.